Now, the government is expected to come to the rescue of hard-pressed northern commuters today.
Over the past 12 months, just 56% of northern trains have arrived on time. Now it looks like the company's to be stripped of its franchise as the government steps in to improve services.
Well, the Northern network has been run by Arriva since 2016, who promised to upgrade the network with a fleet of new trains.
But in the summer of 2018, passengers faced major disruption after a new timetable was introduced without planned infrastructure improvements and a lack of drivers.
Over Christmas 2019, the train operator made hundreds of cancellations due to what it called unprecedented levels of staff sickness. Tom Parmenter reports on the embattled Northern passengers.
Time is up. The people of the North have had enough.
To be honest, I'd rather get taxis than train.
Really?
Yeah.
Shocking.
Have you got any faith that they will sort it out?
Probably not, no. Probably not. This country's bad. I don't have faith in this country at all, mate.
The trains need to run a lot more regular. Excuses like there isn't enough train crew isn't cutting it anymore. It's just not good enough.
We've had quite a number of times when we've booked train tickets and we've got thrown off the train, or the drivers have not turned up, or we've been stranded, not been able to get home from work. It's been quite abysmal, really, to be honest.
Gemma and her son were visiting family near Bolton and on their way back home to London.
You can see there's a massive difference between what the train network is like in London versus it here in the northwest.
And then there's the staff that are just trying to make it work. John did 17 years as a guard on the trains in the north, and it left its mark.
I actually did have a little bit of a breakdown through the stress. It's got to get to you because it's piled on you all the time. It's not just the late running, it can be the state of the train, and it's your office, and it's disgusting.
Northern have delivered new trains, but still run very old ones too. Near Salford, we found Yusuf.
We haven't seen improvement in the trains for a long time. I don't think I'd be exaggerating if I've not seen improvement in the trains in my lifetime.
The failure of Northern has called at over 500 stations, from Northumberland all the way down to Cheshire.
How much confidence are big businesses going to have if we've got services like this? Because big businesses want to be interconnected, and if we're going to build the economy in these kind of northern towns, then those northern towns need to be connected to cities like Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool a lot better than they're currently doing.
It's hard to find a passenger who will miss Northern, but changing trains can't just be cosmetic. It really has to get better. Tom Parmenter, Sky News.
Well, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, has told Sky News that he believes control of the railway should be returned to the public sector.
People here are beyond fed up. We cannot carry on like we are. So I'm hoping that today is the dawn of a new era on the railways in the north of England. I do hope the government is going to put this railway under public control so we can bring some accountability, at least, to this failing railway. And that if that is their decision, it is the right decision, and I welcome it.
Well, let's talk to Tom Forth. He's a spokesman for the Open Data Institute in Leeds. Andy Burnham seems quite optimistic that if this does happen today, it'll be good news for commuters in the north. Do you think it will be?
So, if it happens today, I do think that any change will be good news for commuters in the north. I don't think it can get much worse, to be honest. The challenge, of course, is that the underlying problems are decades in the making. So it's not just this northern franchise that's had problems. There's 30 years of investment that just hasn't happened in the north, and that's probably meant that anyone running the railways, whether it's a national operator or it's franchised or anywhere in between, is going to have a real challenge running the trains in the north of England for a while still, I fear.
So decades in the creating, will it be decades in the fixing?
I think we've already seen some signs of improvement. So parts of the railway in the north of England now are electrified. Where we see electrified railways and where we see the new electric trains that Northern have ordered being run, we do see a really improved service. So if you're going from Manchester, let's say, to Blackpool, quite often, not always, but quite often, the service will be quite good. But if you're running on most of the lines which aren't electrified, the diesel trains are late in arriving. The ones that they're running in the meantime are far too short for everyone to get on usually. And with huge amounts of cancellations, you've got people basically giving up trying to get to work. And that causes a huge knock-on effect. So the real long-term damage of the problems now is that people just aren't taking jobs where the jobs are available. People aren't hiring more people if they're running successful businesses, and it holds back the economy of the north of England.
I mean, saying that the best service is quite good quite often isn't really a ringing endorsement, is it?
No, and I say even that. So I would say the best northern service is barely adequate, and the average one is extremely poor. I think there are signs of improvement, but I've been promising people who get in touch with us at the Open Data Institute Leeds for 2 years. I've been saying, look, just be a bit patient, investment's coming, things are going to improve, and they've never improved. So I think people are right to be completely fed up, as Andy Burnham said.
One option, if they don't strip the franchise, is to give it back to Arriva, but on a very short-term contract, in a different contract. Would there be any use in that, do you think?
I think the challenge with doing that is that I don't think a single person in the north of England trusts anything that Arriva say. So it's been 2 years where we've been promised that in 3 months there'll be new trains, and then when they don't arrive, in another 3 months there'll be new trains, and in another 3 months there'll be improvements. So I think that the trust issue is one that probably makes Arriva a bad option. In terms of taking it on for a short term under some national control, I think that's probably what will give the best option. But we've got to be honest here that a lot of the underlying problems are caused by national control. So let's take the core of the network. The core of the network is not here in Leeds, it's in Manchester. There's 2 platforms at Manchester Piccadilly Station which need to be built. They needed to be built 20 years ago. They desperately needed building 2 years ago, and they were cancelled by the government. So you can't run a train service in the north of England. A vast number of those trains will be passing through and across Manchester if you won't build the capacity to run trains across Manchester. So nationalisation probably restores a little bit of a trust. At least we know, if it's nationalised, we know who to shout at, and we feel like we might be able to believe what they say. But the underlying problems still remain, and only significant investment will solve them.
OK, Tom Forth, hopefully you will know who to shout at soon. Thanks very much.